Cool. So, in this training, you're going to leave knowing how to close people for £500 to £1,000. I'm going to give you a sales framework that you can use the next time you're on a sales call. Okay. So, if you struggle with having like a script to follow, maybe you've never had a script before, or maybe you don't like the script that you're using, or if you're using a script but for whatever reason you're not managing to close the sales, I'm just going to share with you the stuff that I teach to the guys inside FBC. For context, I've been selling coaching for like 16 years. I've done thousands and thousands of hours of sales training with some of the best in the world, and I've read hundreds of books on sales, podcasts, etc. So let's dive in. So first part of the sales call is just going to be an intro. Okay, most people get the intro wrong because when they jump on the call with someone, they start talking about like the weather, they start talking about what they've been up to that day, and it goes on and on and on. Like when you intro a sales call, it should really just be like, "Hey John, it's Dan from Dan Poulter Fitness. How are you, man?" "Yeah, I'm good, Dan. How's things?" "Yeah, good, thank you. I just got back from the gym. I'm feeling pumped up, ready to get into the call. Are you ready to dive in?" "Yeah, I'm ready to dive in." That's it. That's your intro. Okay. Then the next step is the pre-frame, kind of like what I just did at the start of the video. So it's setting the agenda for the conversation you're about to have. So in a pre-frame for a call, it'd be, okay, so John, just so you know that this call is for me to show you how the program works, learn a bit more about your struggles, your goals, create a game plan, and then if we're a good fit at the end of the call, I just want you to give me a hell yes or a hell no. If it's a hell no, we won't get going today. I can refer you to someone or something else. But if it's a hell yes, like you want to do the program, let's get you signed up and let's get you started straight away. Is that fair enough? So by setting that pre-frame at the start of the call, you can get those initial red flags. If someone's like, "Oh, I was only shopping around. I wasn't really looking to get started," and I've handled those in another video. If you comment below, I can direct you to the other video. But generally speaking, we go through that pre-frame, and most people just say, "Yep, sounds great," and yeah, like ready to go. Okay. So number 3 is the overview. Okay, so this is just can you give me a 60 seconds overview of your current situation? And you want to see whether people are solution focused or problem focused. Solution focused would be like, "Oh, I just really want to get this outcome." Problem focused would be like, "I've really got this problem." And this will give you a good idea of like where this person's head is at. Is like, do they even understand that they've got a problem? Do they understand that there's a solution? Is this a nice to have? Is this a need to have? Is this a want to have? So we have to kind of like understand the temperature at the start of the call. Okay. So overview, just a brief overview. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. And I'm curious, like, why now? And why me? So the reason why we say why now is because we want them to commit at the start of the call that it is a now thing. The worst thing you can do at the end of the call is you say, why now? And at the end of the call, they're like, "Oh, it's not really a now thing." So you say to someone like, "Why is now a good time to get yourself a coach?" And why me? If you say to someone, "Why me?" and they don't know anything about you, at that point, you should just pause and say, "Hey, do you mind if I give you a 60 seconds overview of my situation?" Because then you might be able to build some trust by saying, "Well, I've been doing this for 16 years and I've coached thousands of people in fitness and I know what I'm talking about. And I've got these results." And you can even like pull up your Instagram if you're on Zoom, or you can send them some testimonials over WhatsApp. Okay. So once we've got out of the way, we're going to get into pain and then we're going to get into vision. Okay. So pain is understanding their pain, also known as like Hell Island. And then vision is known as Heaven Island. Okay, so I'll show you how this works. So Hell Island, if we look at my screen here, for anyone that's watching on YouTube, I could draw it like this and say like, this is like where they're at, where they don't want to be. Okay. And then where they want to go is they want to go from here, the place they're not happy about, over here. So we're going to start by like, if we're saying like this is hell, like this is where they're not happy about, and then we're talking here over here, we're saying heaven, this is where they want to go. All we're going to be doing throughout this whole call is just finding out what the gap is, and ultimately as well stretching that gap. So if it's quite a small gap, we'll understand that it's a bigger gap, and that'll make more sense in a second. Okay, so where Hell Island, like where they at, right? So that would be like, hey, like, how do you feel about your situation, and how's that making you feel, and how's that impacting you at work? And you're just going through like these questions and going deeper. I usually talk about the 5 W's and 1 H. So that use words like, what can you tell me about that situation? How is that making you feel? Where is that showing up? Why do you think it's always been this way? So this is gathering our information to know like where they're at. And then obviously on the flip side of that, we want to find out where they want to go. So I might say, let's switch gears for a second. Now I know about your situation. Tell me, like, where do you want to go? And based on the length of your program, I would usually say find out their 12-week goal, their 12-month goal, and then their ultimate goal. Okay, so the difference is their 12-week goal might just be, where do they want to be short term? But then tell me, where do you want to be this time next year? The reason why we ask where they want to be this time next year is we want to confirm that where they want to be this time next year is a goal that is worth talking about on this sales call, because you might be able to sell them into a 6 or even a 12-month program if they've got a longer goal. Our goal is always going to be on the phone is like, can we integrally sell them the longest program possible? If they've just like, hey, I want to drop like 4 kilos for someone's holiday, then it might just be a 12-week thing. If they're like, hey, I want to lose like 20 kilos and run a marathon and get a 6-pack and then do this thing, then you could probably sell them like a 12-month goal. So Hell Island, where are they at? Heaven Island, where they want to go. And then we talk about the gap. So the gap is going to be what's missing. So you could say what's missing, what's broken, and then you could say, what do you need from me? And what's going to happen at this point is that they're going to tell you everything that they need. And then on the flip side of this, you're then going to tell them what they need. So firstly, you're going to find out what they think they need. And then secondly, you're going to share with them what they need. So I'll give an example. Oh, I just really struggle with accountability. Oh, I just, when I'm in the gym, I don't really know what I'm doing. Oh, when it comes to nutrition, I'm scratching my head. Okay, cool. So do you mind if I tell you what I think you need? And then you tell them. And then guess what? It's the opposite. So long as obviously that is what you do in your program. An example of the opposite would be, oh, well, I think you need a structured nutrition plan so that you're no longer scratching your head trying to work out what you should be eating on a daily basis. I think what you'd really benefit from is me setting your calories and macros and giving you a meal plan to follow, so you know what to have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, supplements, everything. Do you think that would be helpful? And they're like, oh my God, yeah, that'd be so helpful. Of course it'd be helpful, because they just told you it's what they need. Okay. Bear in mind though, when you come into presenting your program, like your overview, make sure when you present your program, you present it ideally as pillars. So an example of this would be like, okay, so my program, the Shredded Fat Loss Blueprint, there's 3 core pillars: mindset, training, nutrition. Okay, this is what I would usually use an us versus them frame. And I would usually have some enemies. Okay, the enemy, to say, like, let's say you use flexible dieting, your enemy is going to be like the clean eating crew. So let's say, for example, it's like I say to you something like, oh, okay, so I'm going to get you, unlike other coaches, I'm not just going to tell you to eat clean and eat chicken broccoli. I'm going to teach you how to still enjoy the foods you love while still dropping the 10 kilos in the 12 weeks. Does that sound good? And then they tell you. And then you say, unlike other coaches, what you might have seen in the past is they get you to train 6 days a week for 2 hours at a time, an hour of cardio, fasted cardio, 20,000 steps a day. I don't do that. I do this instead. So it's us versus them. So like with like price anchoring that I've spoken to you about in other videos, this is now like anchoring your program against a worse program. Oh yeah, I definitely don't want that, and this sounds way better. Instantly now they have a comparison, which otherwise before they wouldn't. Okay. And then in the final part, you just go into your pitch, and then you go into handling objections. Okay. So if I kind of break this down from the top, intro, this is like maybe like 2 minutes. Pre-frame, another 2 minutes, just telling them like the outcome of the call. Overview, but make sure you say to these people a 60 seconds overview, because obviously people love to kind of talk. Why now? Why me? and then Hell Island, Heaven Island. Where they at? Where do they want to go? This part here is really kind of like the roadblocks. So what's missing? So like why can't they get there on their own? And you want them to kind of sell to themselves as to why they can't get there. And then what they need. So they've told you what they want, and then you tell them what they need, which is what they want. And then it's just a program overview, and then it's just the pitch. So in terms of the pitch, there's a couple of ways you can do it. Okay, you've got two ways really. One is you have a fixed price point and you just say it and you sit back and you see how they respond. Or the other is a this or that close, or a dichotomous close if you fancy. Essentially just saying like 3 months is 1,000 and 6 months is 1,500, which is better for you. So then they choose left or right. They don't choose between yes or no. If you're a bit more experienced or more confident, you could say it's £1,000 for the 12-week program. Sound good? Or you ready? Or shall we do it? And they say yes. Or do I have to pay now? And then you can get into handling objections. And I've covered those on another call. You know, partner, price, trust, and time. Okay. But successfully with the pitch, if they say yes, make sure that they pay on the phone. That's just a rule. And if they don't, then handle the objections. And if you can't get them to pay something, even if it's a deposit, just use the rule of BAMFAM, which means book a meeting from a meeting. Okay, so that's the sales framework. This is what I teach inside FBC. This is what I've been using, like, you know, there or thereabouts. I could do another video and it could change slightly. But this rough framework is essentially where they're at, where they want to go, what's missing. You then paint the picture of how you can get them there and give them all the stuff they don't have. So they feel like, shit, if I've got the stuff that I need, I can get there. And then you just get them to pay on the call. Obviously, objections I can handle on another video. And if you want me to deep dive in any way, just comment the words deep dive below, and I can do like a longer extended version of this video. But I hope that was helpful, and I'll catch you on the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos on the channel.